Hi guys, I'm back. I haven't done a video in weeks, and that's because I've been dealing with my hand injury, and you guys know that the tops of my fingers got severed in a surfing accident, and I'm not gonna lie, it's been a nightmare. And the recovery process has been just awful, and it's been way slower than I anticipated, and I've not been feeling well. The first 4 weeks were just unbearable. I was in constant pain and couldn't really do much of anything, and I finally got a new medicine a little bit more than a week ago, and that's when I started feeling a lot better. So I haven't really been able to do much. I attempted to do a video, but I've been so highly medicated that when I attempted to do a video a few weeks ago, it was a complete disaster. and But I'm feeling better. I'm far from perfect, but I'm feeling better. I'm doing a little bit better. The pain isn't as bad as it was, a week ago, but it's very up and down, and it's not just my hand that just throbs and hurts. It's my whole body is just been a mess, trying to heal my hands and cope with the trauma and everything that's happened to me. So I've been very preoccupied dealing with this, and everything. The past few weeks has been honestly a fog to me. I've just been pretty out of it, but trying to keep up with what's going on in the news, and I definitely have been paying more close attention now that I have been feeling a little bit better. So I'll just let you guys know what I'm going to talk about. I'm definitely going to talk about the upcoming military tribunals, which is what everyone's most interested in, the military tribunals and the mass arrests. I'll talk about Kavanaugh, and I want to also talk about a lot of these whack job celebrities that are attacking him. It's the same usual suspects that it always is. It's always the psychopaths in Hollywood that are pedophiles and or Satanists, or both, who have the most skeletons in their closet because they have the most to lose, and most of them, if not all of them, have a sealed indictment with their name on it. And then there's Beyonce. Beyonce's been in the news because she's being sued by her drummer, and a former drummer is accusing her of practicing witchcraft on her and killing her cat. So, which doesn't at all come as a surprise to me. And what else do I want to talk to you guys about? That's about it. I might talk a little bit about an interesting experience I had the other day with a plane that flew over my building and skywrote a Q in the air, which I'm going to get a ton of slack for from the outlets that love to run hit pieces about me, but you guys know I don't care. And yeah, that's about it. So I'll just get right into it. So first of all, I want to talk about the military tribunals. If you guys remember Senator Lindsey Graham, when he was questioning Judge Kavanaugh, one of the main questions that he was asking him about was related to military tribunals. And he was asking whether citizens of the United States who are accused of treason should be tried in civilian or military courts. And I believe his answer was military courts. So that is probably the most significant thing from his confirmation hearings. Why would Lindsey Graham ask about military tribunals? Well, he's asking about military tribunals because the deep state, the globalists who have committed treason and are involved in the crimes against children, will be dealing with military tribunals. So what President Trump's storm is all about is he is taking down the cabal. The cabal are the elites in Hollywood and DC and other areas of business across the United States and across the globe. And there are different level of crimes that these disgusting people are involved in, but the most heinous crimes that are going to be punishable by death will be treason and the crimes against children. And the crimes against children involve the child sex trafficking, the organ harvesting, the rape and torture and sacrificing of children, the adrenochrome related crimes, the extracting like blood from children, cannibalism, all that gnarly stuff that they engage in. So, and someone on Twitter, Joe M, who I follow on Twitter, he talked about, Q always talks about how there'll be no deals. And he kind of clarified what that meant. And I believe what he said to be true. And this is what I've always thought. The people that are not getting deals are the people that are accused of the top tier 1 crimes. The top tier 1 crimes and the most heinous crimes would be, number 1, treason and crimes against children. No deals for these people. So any of these psychopaths who committed treason against the United States of America and/or were involved in the rape, torturing, and traffic and sacrificing, so murder of children, no deals. And when Q says no deals, like that's who he's referring to. So back to the confirmation hearings involving Judge Brett Kavanaugh. Lindsey Graham asked specifically about military tribunals. Why would he ask that? Because they know what's coming. The deep state, the globalists, the cabal members, they know they're screwed. They know what crimes they've committed. And they also know that John McCain never had cancer, didn't die a natural death or a death from brain cancer. The man was tried in a private military tribunal and he was killed for treason. And from what I'm hearing, from what I'm researching, he sang like a canary and gave up the goods on other people. Now, why did he sing? He sang because they agreed to let him die this phony death for his family and for appearances. But I truly believe it'll come out that he never had brain cancer. When he wore the boot, he possibly was wearing, an ankle monitor. And, it was so obvious he didn't have brain cancer. The guy didn't even retire, so he has brain cancer, and he's still running around the world and, flying to and from D.C., not a care in the world, seemed super healthy and normal. Give me a break. He did not have brain cancer, people. He did not have brain cancer. So the members of the cabal, they know the truth. They're still lying to the sheep. They're still lying to you. They're still using the MSM to lie. But they know what's going on. They understand what's going on. They know that President Trump is taking them down. They know what he meant when he said, this is the calm before the storm. They know what happened to John McCain. So they're freaking out. And their biggest concern right now is what's going to go down when the mass arrests happen. And, are they going to be tried in civilian courts and military courts? And they want to be tried in the civilian courts because the courts aren't completely cleaned up. And, the only last hope they're going to have when these people are arrested is to get off on some kind of crazy technicality. And so that's why they want to be tried in civilian courts. But Judge Kavanaugh said, no, it'll be military tribunals. So that scares the crap out of them because the military doesn't mess around and the military is not going to be sloppy and the military isn't going to let any of these scumbags who were involved in raping children and trafficking children get off on a freaking technicality. They're screwed. They know it. And the bottom line with Judge Kavanaugh is once he is confirmed, it's over. He is the final nail in the coffin that needs to happen to lead us into the mass arrests and then the military tribunals. that's why Lindsey Graham specifically asked about treason, civilian courts, civilian trials, and military tribunals. That's what's going on. And at the end of the day, all of these fake accusers that are coming out accusing him, of nothing. His first accuser accused him of, touching him on the shoulder or something, or attempting to have sex with her, but they didn't have sex at a party when they were in high school. It's so ridiculous, and it's the typical Democratic play card, because they did the same thing to President Trump when he ran in 2016. They did it to Roy Moore, and now they're doing it to Judge Kavanaugh. This is all they have. This is how desperate they have. They have to come up with these fake accusers to accuse him of these fake crimes because that's all they have left to stop him from getting confirmed. Because once he's confirmed, the military tribunals move forward. And they know it. So that's why they're throwing everything they can at him. And I have to laugh because I woke up yesterday and I saw a tweet from creepy porn lawyer Michael Avenatti, so Stormy Daniels, her creepy lawyer. And I saw a tweet from him, and he was posting emails that he exchanged with the chief counsel for the Senate Judiciary Committee. And that guy is one of my best friends from college. And first of all, I just had to laugh because I just thought it was really funny that my friend from college has to deal with the creepy porn lawyer. I just think it's funny. But that aside, when I saw that, it made me feel really good because we all know Avenatti is a scumbag, and it's come out today that these new accusers that he claims that he has, accusing Judge Kavanaugh of I don't even know what. Oh, I think it was a train gang rape in college. It was something ridiculous. Well, it's turning out that most likely this was a prank and this was a troll by one of the Anons of 4chan. And if that's true, and it's looking like that is true, then this is one of the most epic trolls in history. But I had to laugh when I saw this because my friends, I just think it's hilarious that he has to deal with the creepy porn lawyer, number one. But my friend is one of the most amazing people I know. He is a patriot. He was the lawyer for Neil Gorsuch when he went through his process of the confirmation hearings. He had this amazing life, a very comfortable life in private practice, and did not want to move to DC, but he did it to be a part of the movement. He's a patriot. He's a good person. He's working with Grassley right now. He worked with Grassley 20 years ago. I believe he interned with him, but he's worked with Grassley before. Anyways, he doesn't tell me anything. I wish he did, but he doesn't. And he doesn't do that because he's not a leaker, and he's a good person, and he's a good worker. But I'm bringing him up because I sleep better at night knowing that he's in the position that he is, because he is a good person. He doesn't work for bad people, and he doesn't take crap from anyone. So when I saw that Avenatti, contacted him and was making these demands to the Senate committee, or the Senate Judiciary Committee, I had to laugh. And I know my friend, and they're not going to they will be cordial and professional, but they're not going to take this lying down. And Judge Kavanaugh is fighting back, just like Clarence Thomas did, and so is Grassley, and so are many good people in Congress. Thank God, not many, but enough are fighting back. Where I'm not even worried. Judge Kavanaugh will get approved. All of the nonsense, fake sexual assault allegations that they're throwing at him, everyone's seeing through it. I mean, even CNN did, what did they do? They had some kind of a town hall where they had a bunch of women talking about, the allegations, just the first allegation against Judge Kavanaugh, and every single woman said it's ridiculous. Like, this woman claims that he may have touched her in high school at a party, but literally every single witness that she has cited, which was at least 4 women, has said that she's lying. It's like, it's so ridiculous. And, most people have already caught on to this, but I just want people to know this is straight from the Democrats' playbook. They've done this time and time again. Starting with Clarence Thomas. Maybe it started before then, but they did it to Clarence Thomas. They did it to Roy Moore. And they did it to President Trump when he was running for president. And as someone who is a real sexual assault victim, number one, I find it absolutely appalling. I find anyone that makes a fake rape accusation just as appalling as someone that is an actual rapist, okay? And I think all these women should be criminally prosecuted. So that's number one. But when all of these accusations were being thrown at President Trump in 2016, I researched thoroughly almost every single one of these women. And I found holes in all of their stories. And I found out that almost all of them, if not all of them, almost all of them were getting paid. And there was a politically driven agenda behind these claims, which were fake. And I'll give you an example of one of them. The first woman that came out to claim that, President Trump 20 years ago touched her inappropriately on an airplane. Her name was Jessica Leeds. She claimed that President Trump sexually assaulted her on an airplane. And she said that he octopused her. He said that he put his hands all over her and octopused her. Those were the words she used. Well, I ran a background check on this woman, and guess what? 2 of her closest family members were charged and convicted of running a sex trafficking ring in Palm Springs. Furthermore, I found that this woman has deep and close ties to Hillary Clinton. So close that some of her family members have had Hillary Clinton in their homes in New York. So I found out all this stuff on this woman, and at the time I was freelancing for some mainstream media outlets. No one would run the story. I mean, it was just unbelievable. But, as someone that's a survivor of a sexual assault, if President Trump genuinely sexually assaulted someone, I would not have supported him. And I went through all of the claims, and they were all BS. So, this is all they've got. They did it to President Trump, didn't work. They did it to Roy Moore. Unfortunately, it worked in that case because he lost. But now they're doing it to this fine man, Judge Kavanaugh. And he just did an interview claiming that he was a virgin in high school. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's so transparent. It's so sickening. And it's so sad that he has to go through this. He has to be smeared like this. And it's been reported that now his family's getting death threats. His children are getting death threats. It's so sad. But the good news is he's going to get confirmed. It's backfiring. These disgusting, dirty tricks that the Democrats are playing to smear a good person, it's backfiring. People are waking up. People are seeing through it. President Trump has Judge Kavanaugh's back. President Trump has been calling them out. President Trump has said himself, these people know he's a good man. These people know these allegations aren't true. The Democrats are cons. And they're pretty good cons too. Better than the Republicans. They play dirty much better than Republicans. And the Republicans don't fight back enough. But in this case, Judge Kavanaugh's fighting back. Trust Grassley. You can absolutely trust Grassley. And again, my friend of 20 plus years, I sleep so well at night knowing that he's in the position that he's in. Judge Kavanaugh's going to get confirmed. I believe he'll get confirmed this week. I'm not even sweating it. You guys shouldn't sweat it too. Continue to pray for him. Always pray for President Trump, but specifically right now we need to pray for Judge Kavanaugh too. And it's going to work out. It's going to be fine. And like I said, the reason why they're attacking him so hard is because this is the last step that needs to happen before the mass arrests and the military tribunals. So, I know that everybody wants to know about when the mass arrests are going to happen. That's what people are most interested. I will tell you from what I've researched and what I just believe intuitively to be true, what I feel is going to happen with the mass arrest. So I believe that after Judge Kavanaugh is confirmed, which will be hopefully this week, maybe next week, hopefully this week. After that happens, President Trump is scheduled to give the first emergency text message So President Trump has set it up so he can directly communicate with the people via text message. Q has told us all about this. Q started telling us about this a year ago. This is being set up so when the mass arrests do happen, if there is mass chaos, and if the deep state manages to take down the internet, to take down cable, maybe turn the electricity off, just whatever, to cause complete chaos, President Trump will be able to send every American citizen a text message and explain what's going on. So this way he's going to be able to bypass the fake news. And again, if some deep state entities mess with, the electricity, the internet, social media, if they take down Facebook, Twitter, which is very possible, and they've planned for this. Q's talked about this. They've planned for this for a very long time, and they started posting about this. Q started posting about this a year ago, almost a full year ago. President Trump will be able to talk directly to us via these text messages. Now, I believe that President Trump, or I believe that after Kavanaugh is confirmed, they will do a test text message, to make sure it works, and alerting people, and or not alerting people, but just to let people know that this is how the president will be communicating with people in case of an emergency or a crisis. And just so you guys know, under one of Trump's executive orders, he has declared that we are in a state of an emergency since last year. And I'm sure you guys all know that he also signed that executive order that talked about the human rights abuses, and anyone that was violating human rights abuses, which would include the child sex trafficking, well, their assets will be seized, and they have been seized, which is why I believe Chrissy Teigen went on Snapchat and was complaining about none of her credit cards working not too long ago. And many of you guys know about that. Anyways, so what I believe is going to happen, Judge Kavanaugh will get confirmed. President Trump will send out the first text message, which I believe will be a test. And then after that, I believe soon after that, the mass arrest will happen. President Trump may have to declare martial law if things get really crazy, if there's mass chaos when they do the mass arrest. And when I say the mass arrest, I mean I'm referring to the 50,000 sealed indictments that are now sitting in courthouses. I believe that they'll do maybe one big swoop, or maybe a couple big swoops, but I believe the first sweep that they do will include the most powerful criminals. So the people like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, the Bushes, and then they will go down to the lower level people. Now, when this happens, there could be mass chaos because most people aren't awake and most people have absolutely no idea any of this is happening. Furthermore, many people still think that Barack Obama is like a cool guy and he's legit and he's a good person and he was a good president. And not many, but some people still think Hillary Clinton is a good person, which is incredible. But, there's a lot of sheep out there that aren't educated and they just listen to the fake news and they are clueless. They have no idea that these people are involved in child sex trafficking, spirit cooking, cannibalism, eating babies, treason. They have no idea. So people might freak out. The sheep might freak out. And, my advice to you would be stock up on a lot of water, stock up on some food. But at the end of the day, if President Trump, if there is mass chaos when the arrest goes down, President Trump will declare martial law. I don't think it'll be for that long. I don't think it'll be for more than a few days. Because at the end of the day, when these mass arrests happen, all the money will be cut off, if it already hasn't been cut off. And the people who have funded the protesters and a lot of these protests in D.C., people like George Soros and Media Matters, these people are all going to be in jail. They're all going to be arrested. So there won't be an organized, effort to mobilize the useful idiots, most of who are paid to cause chaos and to protest. So if President Trump does have to declare martial law, I don't think it'll be that bad, because they have already subdued the enemy for the past at least year and a half, 2 years, actually since he's first got in office. You know, he's actively started taking out the deep state, and you know, the first step for him, which Q talks about for taking on the deep state, was taking down the House of Saud and the criminal members of the royal Saudi family who were involved with funding our corrupt politicians like Hillary Clinton, John McCain, and those princes were involved in child sex trafficking. That was the first step. They were the top of the pyramid. She talked about that. They took them down about a year ago, and they've been subduing the cabal and the deep state for a year now. So, you know, again, I don't, if and when they declare martial law, if they need to, they're only going to declare martial law if they need to. But if they need to do it, which I do feel that they may need to do it, I don't think it's going to be that bad. And I think it's only going to be for a few days. But, you know, stock up on some food, stock up on some water. And, you know, if and when that happens, my advice to everyone would just be to stay inside, especially if you live in a big city. Just stay inside and until this passes. I think it's going to be a little reminiscent to what it was like on 9/11. And I was in D.C. I was actually interning in the White House when 9/11 happened. And, you know, I just remember there was tanks on every street corner and whatnot. And obviously the airports were shut down, and a lot of businesses were shut down on that day. So I think it's going to kind of be similar to that if it happens. It might not have to happen. They might make these mass arrests, and people may not go crazy and take the streets. But they need to prepare for the worst. So I believe the mass arrest will happen this year. I got a little freaked out when President Trump said the military parade had been postponed. That made me think that the timeline may have shifted, but I think that they'll still happen this year. You know, Q keeps saying that 2018 will be glorious. So, you know, when he says that, that makes me think that the military arrests will be this year. And President Trump has set it up and lined it up for the military tribunals to start in 2019. So, you know, that's what's going to happen. I think in the worst case scenario, the mass arrest would happen in early 2019. But I think that they're on track and everything's going on time. And I do believe Judge Kavanaugh will be confirmed. And since he's going to be confirmed in the next few days, these mass arrests could happen. I mean, they could happen literally the day after he's confirmed. That wouldn't surprise me. I definitely think they'll happen in October. And maybe early November. But I just don't see them happening in December, January, or February. Possible. The timeline could change. Could be moved back. The timeline with President Trump has changed. You know, he was supposed to run in 2012. And that timeline was moved back. So you never know. Timelines can change. But I still feel pretty good and confident that these mass arrests are going to happen very soon. And I'd say in October. And, you know, I just truly believe in Mark Taylor. Mark Taylor, if you don't listen to Mark Taylor, you need to listen to him. You should be following him on Twitter as well. But he predicted Trump's presidency. He prophesized it in 2011. And he's been spot on about everything. And I believe he's a true prophet of God. He's become a good friend. I just absolutely adore him. But everything that I've researched and intuitively felt on my own and what I've heard from my sources has always lined up with what Mark Taylor says. And he agrees with me and feels the same way about how the mass arrests are going to go down in the timeline. And again, he doesn't, only God truly knows the exact timeline, and timelines can change. But everything is shaping up for the mass arrest to happen. This year. I'm feeling really confident about it. So I'm gonna break this up into 2 videos, part 1 and part 2. This is gonna be part 1, and I'll post part 2 right after because I have issues uploading my video if it's longer than 30 minutes. So check out my next video.